Okay, guys. Hope you're doing well. This is Red Pill Phil here with Billy Pag, or Billy Howarth, I should say, from Pag UK. We're here to talk about a particular case that's just been concluded at, was it Manchester Crown Court? Minstrel Street. That case it started on the 12th of June and it ended on the 14th of June, all regarding a chap called Stephen Thorpe, who in September 2018 lured a 14-year-old boy into a position where he could then sexually assault him. The boy obviously it's ended up in it reporting it, and it's got all the way to a court case. The unfortunate bit about this is that this chap, this predator as such, Stephen Thorpe, it's not the only time he's done this. We will get into that a little bit more into the interview, but for now, I'm just going to say, you all right, Billy? How you doing, mate?
Very well, thank you, Philip.
Now, I know this case really got your goat a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they all do, but this one was a bit familiar, to my own stuff. So yeah, I don't enjoy any of them, but this one particularly made me a bit ill.
Stephen Thorpe, what do you know about him? Basically,
Stephen Thorpe is a local man from where I live. Now, I knew there was historical problems with him through previous cases because that was widespread, well known. But I knew him before that. It's his MMO, what I know. It's whilst doing patrols and stuff, we've seen him in areas, and he's always been a person of interest. His MMO is that obvious. He's a prowler. He prowls in all the areas nobody goes. When I say nobody goes, like I explained to you, it's like, for example, Rochdale Cemetery. Any kids who live on the southwest of Rochdale who go to Alder Hill, most of them will cut through Rochdale Cemetery to get to Alder Hill School. And that's where he was hanging about. Broadfield Park, and we all know the situation of Broadfield Park. Most estates north from Rochdale North want to get to the town centre. The quickest way is to cut through Broadfield Park.
Right,
He's in there a hell of a lot.
So these are cut-through points that can save kids at least up to 20 to 30 minutes walk time if they cut
and
through
also,
it.
if we look at this final offence, it was on the canal.
Okay.
The canal's a shortcut to every single estate in Rochdale.
Yeah.
Everybody uses the canal because it takes half of the journey out.
So we've said this before, the kids have got to understand, as much as this is a cut through and it will save time, it's also a vulnerable spot.
Yeah, of course it is.
Because this guy is such a predator, and we don't use that word predator lightly, because he's got an MO of doing this, that he uses that as a vulnerability place for him to do what he does.
A few people said, he doesn't seem to be all there, he knows exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
He knew exactly.
Well, just because of the pattern.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I've just briefly looked into it. Obviously, for this interview, there's going to be more research done, but just on a very brief level, just so I know literally what has actually occurred. There's been offences from 2002, 2009.
1994.
1994.
He was convicted for the same thing on two young boys. Approaching them, same MMO, how old are you, how old are you, how old are you? And then aiming for the youngest, befriending them and doing what he does. Same with the second one, approached, asked their age, befriended and molested. Same with the third one, but the third one he did it differently because there was three of them and one of them was 17. So he left them, but then he returned at a later date knowing that's where this young lad went fishing and then did what he did.
Because he knew that he'd already initially broke the ice.
Yeah, there you go.
He knew he could actually then proceed and work on the young lad, essentially.
But on the other hand, that just proved that identification was a lot easier for the young lad. If he'd have just gone and done what he did and the young lad had not seen him before, they wouldn't have been able to identify him. But because they'd spoke to him a week before, the other two lads was be able to be witness in court to say, if he's saying it was the same guy that assaulted him, that's the guy that we seen.
So that worked against him.
So that worked against him in the long run. Well, you sat through the trial, you're thinking, is that going to blow it? You know what I mean? Is he going to get away with it on that technicality? Do you know what I mean? But no, he didn't. The jury didn't fall for it, thank God.
Well, going back to another case, 2009, he'd already been sent to jail for a previous offence, and then he'd actually sent a text message to two police that was not only threatening them, but was threatening the judge that actually put him down initially.
He threatened to set the pour petrol on the judge and set the judge on fire. But I remember that as well, because don't forget he lives very close to me, so they closed all the street off, the armed police and that, where they went and arrested him.
Right.
He'd only been out about a month, you know what I mean? So he was back in, but he only got 4 months for the offence that he committed of threatening to kill a life, not the half a sentence that he'd just been let out for. Do you know? So if you breach, if you breach your license or you're rearrested for something, don't you go back and serve the rest of your sentence? You've just been.
Definitely.
Doesn't seem to work in this guy's case though, Phil. It seems to be get him out as quick as possible.
Yeah, because 2002, he had a 30-month jail term with an additional 42 months on a licence. Released in 2003, but after 12 days of being released in 2003, he breached his terms of probation by threatening the probation staff.
Yeah.
So he breached it, and then, ultimately, maybe he'd gone back in, maybe he didn't. But all this is showing a pattern leading up to 2018, and that's only what we can document here. What else has he got away with that he can't be identified for?
Well, of course, and now I've had open messages from other people who are won't name, and this guy has made the attempts. And I'm talking from the 90s. They come to me and say, Billy, that fucker followed me down the canal when I was younger. I told him to fuck off, and he left me alone, but I was lucky, weren't I? I went, you was. You know what I mean? Because if he'd have said, hey mate, or anything like that, and befriended him instead of being volatile towards him, he'd have given it a go.
Could have.
Grubby little opportunities. That was his MMO, wasn't it? Walk about. He tried to play as though he only goes out not very often. He doesn't walk very far because he's got arthritis in his foot. I've exposed him walking around this town centre nearly every day for about 2 months. The guy walked through my front door in my shop.
I was just going to say that. And it actually created a little bit of concern with one or two survivors that you've got working.
Yeah, of course.
Because they knew exactly who he was.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, they flapped a bit, Luckily I was here, so I was able to deal with it very quickly.
So when he come in the store, what was his purpose for coming in, Billy? Did he?
So what he does, he likes to walk round the shops, and he'll spend hours in the shops, and I don't know who he's about. He never buys nothing. Never ever buys anything, but likes to browse. Right. Or is that waiting for that moment? Remember, let's go back to when we followed him into the exchange at the bottom, and he went into W.H. Smith and spent 35 minutes in the children's book aisle until I got hold of a policeman. I waited outside until we got hold of a policeman and said, that man is a convicted paedophile. His MMO is walking around children, places where children will be. Look at the sign above his head. And the officer went, what's his name? I said, Stephen Thorpe. He went, yeah, I know him. I said, look at the sign above his head. And as you looked, he stood there with a book, and above his head it says children's book.
Wow.
So, he was, and you could tell, he stood there with a book and like this.
Just hanging about. Predatory behaviour.
Opportunity.
I remember you telling me that, and that was months ago.
Yeah, opportunity.
So then you think to yourself, Billy, why has he still been allowed to do this then?
I was reporting on him way before he did that offence in September. For years I've been on him, following him and highlighting him. It is what it is. They could have prevented this if they'd have listened.
The MO's there, it's screaming at you. I've only took 15 minutes and
it's
from
obvious.
that.
It was obvious, you know what I mean?
Bloody hell.
Even after he was charged for this offence, latest offence, he continued that behaviour.
Well, he's actually
said last week.
You were saying that he's still got no remorse when it's ever brought up in court about his previous
when he was
convictions.
cross-examined in the dock. She brought up his previous cases. Now, there was a fight between, not a fight, but there was a debate between judge, defence and prosecution on whether his older convictions, because there was both decade ago, should have been brought into the court case, and there was arguing that he shouldn't have been. But luckily the judge was saying no, because there was identical. They have to be mentioned, because it shows the pattern I've been telling them about for years.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Let me just read you the statement from Detective Constable Carl Perry. Now, Carl Perry is the DC who's in charge of this case, and he's done all right, he's done a good job. So I'm not knocking him. But I'm going to tell you something he said. Now, this doesn't mean any of my phone calls have been sent to him. It just means he didn't know what I was saying. Detective Carl Perry of GMP Rochdale Division said the victim has been left with lasting mental scars. He said Stephen Thorpe is a predator. He preyed on his victim and advised him to go out of sight of prying eyes before cornering him and sexually assaulting him. Stephen Thorpe is a predator. Yet when I was phoning saying he's doing this, he's doing that, they were saying he's allowed, his probation, there's nothing we can do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're admitting themselves, duh, he's a predator.
Yeah.
So if he's a predator, why was he allowed to continue to do this until the fact came he raped or tried to
For
rape
them to be
child?
satisfied that he's a predator means that they've allowed more victims to become reality.
It's that,
in a way.
It's that point again that I make every video we do, Phil, no prevention, all about
You're true, mate. You're true. So this, no wonder you've been on my case, mate. I've got to do this. I'm so frothing at the mouth of the verdict that he's got.
My head is pounding with it, you know what I mean? For the last 3 days in that trial, it was horrid.
Well, it's unjust, in it. So let's go back to that, right? So the case, obviously the charge was against a 14-year-old boy, sexual assault, and the case commenced the 12th of June to the 14th of June. He got guilty. He got 4 years. Plus, he got a lifetime on a CSPO. Have I got that right? Child Sexual Prevention Order. Yeah, right, okay.
Something like that it was called.
What do you think of that verdict?
He was already on one.
So he was on it when he got guilty for this one?
Yeah, he was already on that order, so why have they given it him again? You know, because he breached it last time.
You know.
So I don't get that one either. 4 years. Now, they say it's his third offence. Not so, because his first charge was 2 children, his second charge was 1, and his third charge was 1. So that's 4 offences to me.
If you're talking individuals.
3 court cases, yeah. But
yeah.
It's 4 offences. He's ruined 4 children's lives.
Without a doubt.
A year each.
But even with the 3, let's bund 2 together and make it 3. With the MO that's obviously proved, with the fact that you've got police that are openly admitting that he's a predator, when he's also said himself that he's got lack of remorse for what he's done in the past, as in he don't feel he's in the wrong, do you feel 4 years is enough?
Not even close. I thought he was going to get about 8 or 9.
Well, we were talking about the threshold before, and you weren't ultimately clear about it, but what you do know is that what he's been given in terms of the boundaries they're allowed to venture when sentencing, that 4 years, would you agree that this is the minimum of the boundary within?
3 years said would be the least.
So he's just slightly over. Now, what was the highest threshold?
15 years, isn't it?
So he could have got up to 15 years for this.
He should have got up to 50. Isn't it 3 strikes and out?
Well,
that's what they're saying, it 3 strikes and out. He's
not showing any remorse.
No. The fact that he stood in when he was cross-examined, he stood in the dock and he said, exact words is, I didn't do them other offences, it was all lies. So even then in the dock, even after 20 years later after the first offence, he was calling his victim a liar. After he'd been convicted for it. He should have gone back and served half of that sentence and make him do the half of the next sentence as well on top of the 4 years. Because in the UK, you get half of your sentence for good behaviour. And if you admit you're rehabilitated and what you did was wrong to probation, they'll ask you the question, or they're supposed to ask. We know through the TED files this isn't happening. TED told us this years ago. Do you remember TED files? The TED files?
No.
You never shared the TED files with you. That's a different video. The paedophile exchange programme does not work. It's not being, they're not doing it. It's just not happening. So when, the programme itself, when you've been convicted of paedophilia, sign on, off you pop. There's no, let's talk about this, let's address this, what would you do if a young girl came into your room in a parenting, or anything like that. Yeah. None of that's being done.
Yeah. So it's like a register to take them in and out. Yeah,
that's all that's being done. Because of courts, because of this, because of that, Rochdale probation's go, they got understaffed, they can't chase every paedophile, and then we've got more paedophiles and more.
So is that preventing? If you've got people that are not being rehabilitated but through the system, they are facilitating in it, mate, and that's unfortunate that they're allowing people to be in a more vulnerable position because they're just wheeling paedophiles out on the street that have probably got no remorse, and the predatory behaviour is still in place, but yet they're getting mitigated.
Yeah.
They're getting lack of, true justice, as we see. So, in terms of, let's cap it, what would you say that he should have received, Stephen Thorpe?
I think he should have received 6 years with a recommendation to serve the full 6. That would have been fair on the survivor. That is like.
Down to the survivor, and also showing a lack of remorse for the pattern that he's done over the years.
And the main thing he's doing is safeguarding the future assaults which he's going to commit. Because he will strike again. I have no doubt in my mind this man will. We will be hearing from this man again. Again, when he's released, again, if I find out where he is, he's not going to come back to Rochdale. He's going to lose his house now, because the last 2 times he was locked up, he lived with his mum, but his mum passed away, so he's living on his own now. So he's lost his house. So that gets him off my area, but that just puts him on somebody else's. So if anyone out there does see him and he does turn up, give us a shout so I know where he is, so I can watch him like an hawk, because you're going to need to watch him like an hawk.
What we do know is that this guy obviously is going down for what he's done, which is a deterrent in itself, but we know the justice system doesn't really work, otherwise he would have got more.
His brain doesn't work that way, and he won't process it like that. He'll process it like, they fucking had me over, so when I get out I'm going to make sure they pay for it, or,
Yeah. Not even appreciating the victims that are in his wake.
Of course, like the judge said, his life from start to finish in all 3 cases shows zero remorse to any of the children that he's abused. And then give him 4 years.
No.
It's like, I was praising this judge, and it's a bit lenient.
It's like pennies when it should have been pounds, really.
I believe so. I believe they should have said, you've had your chance.
Yeah.
So slammed him.
Yeah. With people like Billy on the streets of Rochdale, be sure that he will be watching out for the citizens of Rochdale moving forward. So look out for this, and when you do see this interview, guys, do your utmost to share it, to put it on whatever forum you can, just to alert that there are people within Rochdale that are keeping an eye on what is going on around here. So this is Red Pill Phil speaking with Billy Howard from PAG UK. I love you all, even the pissing haters. God bless.